What is up, guys? So after like a year now of getting promotional photos of Titans as well as set photos, some of the promotional photos like Robin, Hawk, and Dove look really great, but then there are the set photos of Raven, Starfire, and Beast Boy that did not look too promising for the show. We have finally gotten our first official footage from Titans in the first trailer. I'm not going to be showing that trailer in this video because it's an almost 2-minute long trailer and I can't show that in a video, but I will still break it down. So at the beginning of the trailer, we see Rachel Roth, who is going to be Raven, like that's her name. Her name isn't really known because in the Teen Titans TV show, she was just called Raven the entire time, so she wasn't really ever called Rachel Roth, but that is her name on the show and in the comics as well. So she gets like a vision of Robin from before he was Robin as like a flying Grayson, and then she goes to meet up with him just because like probably like something is drawing her to him. But we see here at the beginning that Robin is actually retired, or Dick Grayson is actually retired as a superhero, and apparently he's actually a cop. I think that's based off something from the 90s where he was a cop in the 90s, so they're doing something like that. But apparently here he is retired as Robin and is now a cop, and now Raven coming along is probably warning him about Trigon or something, because Trigon is probably going to be the main villain of the first season, even though that sounds really expensive. He probably will be, going off how much this season is focused on Raven, or this trailer is really focused on Raven, and like all the character descriptions we've had, a lot of them are focused on characters who would seem like they work for Trigon or are trying to get Trigon back from like wherever he is, but it seems like Raven's coming to warn Robin about Trigon. I don't know why Robin specifically, I honestly don't know, but all we know from this is that Robin is retired, Dick Grayson is retired as Robin and is now a cop, but Raven coming back draws him back into being a superhero. So then, after Robin comes back into the fold as Robin, we see how dark, gritty, and gory this TV show is going to be in this one fight scene we see, and right after that, he literally says F Batman, which is crazy. Like, this whole thing of him, he fights these guys, he shoots a couple of them with a gun, and then he says F Batman. That is way too dark, and I mean, it's so unnecessarily dark. DC has made so much Teen Titans / Titans content in the past, some of it good, some of it bad, but it's never been bad because it's not dark enough. It's been bad because it's just too childish in the past. But there's the Teen Titans TV show that was really good, and that was dark at times, but it wasn't even PG-13, and it worked really well. This should probably be PG-13 because it is live action, but TVMA or rated R, if this was a movie, it's way too much, and I don't think it fits, especially for a character like Dick Grayson. If this was Jason Todd, then it would work a little well, considering he is killing people with a gun, no less. But this saying, him killing people with a gun and then saying F Batman, that is crazy, and that is way too dark. It's just so unnecessarily dark, and it's not fitting for the character. Again, if this was Jason Todd, which it is not, that would fit, and I think it's so weird. They basically combined a couple of Robins. Maybe that's something they're doing, I don't know, but it's really weird what they did here, how dark they made this TV show. It doesn't need to be this dark, and this character of Dick Grayson is not this dark. He doesn't kill people. Like, it seems like they might be basing this a little bit off of the DCEU, where Batman is killing people with guns, and now Robin's killing people with guns as well. It's crazy. It's a little bit too dark, and when I say a little bit too dark, I mean it's way too dark. It does not need to be this dark, like, at all, and I feel like that might be something that will not be that great about this season. I feel like it's going to be a lot of great fight scenes, really gory, and it probably will feel more realistic because of it, but it's a little unnecessary how dark this TV show seems to be. Although the fight scenes, like the scene where Robin jumps from one roof to another over these goons, that is a cool shot, but what comes after that, the fight scene looks cool, but it's just way too dark. And Robin is killing people with guns, so that's a little bit too much. And then F Batman, that is way too much. So throughout the rest of the trailer, we see our first official looks at the rest of the Titans, other than Robin, Hawk, and Dove, who all looked great, at least in costume. And then we see Raven, Beast Boy, and Starfire. And first of all, Raven, obviously, like I said, the season seems to be very heavily focused on the Raven character. So much so, honestly, that at least in the trailer, none of the other characters other than maybe Robin really seem to fit into the story. Like Beast Boy and Starfire in this trailer come out of nowhere. They're just there for no real reason. Robin's there because Raven goes to him. He or she gets visions of him for some reason, and that it draws her to him. But Beast Boy and Starfire, they just come out of nowhere. But we see Raven for the first time, or like the first official time. We've seen set photos, and She never had this white skin, like complete white skin and black eyes like she has in the comics and in the Teen Titans TV show, and it doesn't look bad. It definitely doesn't look bad. It doesn't seem like there is much to it at this point, like we don't see much of it, but it does not look bad. Then we get our first official look at Beast Boy, and in the set photos, Beast Boy only had like green hair. His hair was painted green, and that's it, which got me a little worried to like what they're doing with Beast Boy. Maybe they're like he's gonna develop his powers throughout the season, and a little bit of him is gonna become green, and then by the end of the season he's gonna have fully green skin and be able to turn into animals. But it seems like from the beginning he will have green skin and be able to turn into animals. We see here in this shot he has green skin and he seems to be turning into something. Like you see his claws, his hands becoming claws, his ears I think becoming like wolf ears, kind of. So I'm actually kind of excited to see how they do that. This TV show does seem a little bit low budget, so they probably will not use his Beast Boy, his transformation effects very often, but just looking from what we see in this trailer, it seems like his body is slowly transforming into maybe a wolf, because like I said, his hands seemingly becoming claws and his ears seemingly becoming like wolf ears, although maybe this is just what he looks like at all times, because there are some versions of Beast Boy that are like a little bit animal-like in Young Justice, where he has a tail for some reason. So that might be what's going on here. Maybe that's just going to be Beast Boy in general, where he's just a normal guy with claws and ears, so he's like half animal, which would be such a cop-out, but it seems like that actually might be something they're doing, because like I said, they have a really small budget seemingly. Like just going off of what they have so far, they have shown the budget seems pretty small, so that might be what they're doing. I really hope they're not. I really just hope that he transforms into animals sometimes, but that might get a little bit expensive. Either way, Beast Boy with the green skin actually looks really good, and his costume, his leather jacket or whatever, that is definitely comic book accurate, because he has a costume that looks very similar to this. Hopefully he gets an actual costume by the end of the season, and again, hopefully he's not just half animal, and hopefully he actually turns into other animals. So then we get our first official look at Starfire, and this is the character that has definitely drawn up the most controversy, like out of any of the characters on the show, in terms of the casting and in terms of her appearance. And the casting aside, her appearance is definitely not good. We saw the set photos. Like, what I mean is that she doesn't look like Starfire, and her costume is just terrible. We saw this costume in set photos, and I'm pretty sure the actress said that this is good, that they caught them at a scene where she's in disguise or something, and maybe she just means that her hair isn't glowing and her eyes aren't glowing, because she's wearing the exact same thing, and it is a terrible, terrible costume. Starfire is definitely the character on the show that looks the worst in comparison to her comic book counterpart. Like, it's not a good casting, and her hair is obviously a wig. It's clearly a wig. The costume is terrible. The effect for her shooting her bolts looks just like fire. I don't know. There's a lot about this Starfire that just seems really wrong and off. Hopefully they fix that throughout the rest of the show, however long the show lasts, because right now, out of all the characters, out of Robin, Hawk, Dove, Raven, Beast Boy, and Starfire is the character I'm not looking forward to the most, because she is so, I don't know, I explained this a lot more in a previous video where I talked about the set photos that were released about Starfire, Raven, and Beast Boy, where Starfire just looked all kinds of wrong, and basically everybody agreed with me. So definitely watch that video where I go more into depth about why I don't like this version of Starfire from what we've seen up until now. So then we see Hawk and Dove in action, and like I've said in the past, they look so cool. Honestly, from this trailer and from what we've seen, everything from Titans so far, I would just prefer them to just completely forget about Starfire, Raven, and Beast Boy. Maybe like they can pull off Raven and Beast Boy, but Starfire they could just completely forget about and just completely focus on Robin, Hawk, Dove, and maybe like introduce Arsenal and Kid Flash from the Arrowverse. That would make it a much better TV show. Also maybe dial it back a little bit in terms of darkness, because because the reason I want it to more focus on Hawk and Dove is because Hawk, you see right here, first of all, you see Dove in action, and she looks so good. The costume looks incredible. I don't understand what happened here. Like, they put so much into the costumes of Robin, Hawk, and Dove, and then Starfire, Beast Boy, and Raven, they're like, screw it. They don't really need a costume for Raven, and not really for Beast Boy either, but Starfire definitely needed a costume, but it seems like they poured all of their budget from their costumes into Robin, Hawk, and Dove, and that's not a complaint on Robin, Hawk, and Dove because they look great, but it is a complaint about Raven, Starfire, and Beast Boy, but more on Starfire than the rest. So that is it for this trailer. The rest of the trailer is just a bunch of shots of the Titans, like individually, and specifically Raven. There's a lot of shots of Raven. Like I said, this season seems to be very focused around Raven. My general thoughts from this trailer is that, one, way too dark. Like, I think it definitely looks good, like better than the set photos let on, but maybe not as good as the promotional photos let on because it's just way too dark. I mean, Robin killing people with guns specifically and saying F Batman, and you saw Dove later completely shatter a guy's knee. It's really brutal and dark, and it doesn't need to be this dark. It's a little unnecessarily dark. There are certain characters from the DC universe that would be able to pull this off, like even like really close to Robin. Red Hood would probably be a very dark TV show. Deathstroke, maybe even from the Arrowverse, if he ever got a TV show, it probably could be this dark, maybe like Lobo. There are certain characters, but the Teen Titans, or the Titans in general, they don't need to be this dark. It's just really unnecessary. But the rest of the trailer, I actually did like most of it. I thought Robin looked just as good as he did in the promotional photos, but the fact that he's killing people and saying F Batman, a little bit too much. Hawk and Dove look great. Raven looks great. Beast Boy definitely looks a lot better than I expected because I just expected him to have normal skin instead of green skin, and the fact that he probably will turn into animals is honestly something that I'm excited to see. Starfire still definitely does not look good, but let me know what your thoughts about this trailer were in the comments down below. How excited are you for this TV show in the comments down below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and thanks for watching.